Hey there, I'm Melissa Whaley, and today we are going to be looking at connecting Dubsado with QuickBooks Online. Now, if you have not seen the video that I recorded with my friend Jamie, definitely check out the link in the box below because we talked all about how it works, the theory behind it, what are some best practices, and how we can make it all just be better. So this video is going to take you through an actual tech tutorial, show you the ins and outs, nuts and bolts of how to make Dubsado and QuickBooks Online talk to each other and not screw up all your bookkeeping. All right, let's go. All right, so here I am in the Dubsado dashboard. Now, full disclosure, I don't use Dubsado for my own business, so this is a trial account, but all the features are available on this trial account. So everything I'm going to show you today is exactly the same as how it works on a paid account. So this is the Dubsado dashboard, and what we're going to be working in today is two areas. The first is the bookkeeping area where we have invoices, and the other area is going to be over here in your brand settings. But before we go there, we need to set up a few things in QuickBooks Online. So let's go over to QuickBooks Online. This is also a demo account that I have set up for these videos. So here's some important things you need to know before you try to connect Dubsado with QuickBooks Online. The first is that you have to be using QuickBooks Online Simple Start, Essentials, or Plus. There is another version called QuickBooks Self-Employed that is not the same, and it does not connect directly to Dubsado. It is another option for tracking strictly your bookkeeping. It does connect to your bank accounts, and it will connect to PayPal. It will not connect to Stripe, so it won't pull accurate Stripe information. So we want to make sure we're at least on Simple Start version of QuickBooks Online. If you have a higher version, that'll work great. So this particular account, I believe, is set up on Essentials. Really, it doesn't matter. So we have our QuickBooks account created, and there's a few steps you need to do to connect things like your bank accounts. And we're going to go over here to accounting. This is where we create our bank accounts. So when you connect your online banking, you'll see it has these little arrows. You give it a name, and it'll start syncing between your online banking and QuickBooks. PayPal, if you use PayPal regularly, will also sync like a regular bank account. So you can do that. I don't have it currently synced to this account. Stripe, on the other hand, does not connect directly to QuickBooks Online. There was a little test that they did and it didn't work very well, so I think they turned it off. The only way to automatically sync Stripe to QuickBooks Online is through a third-party app. You could use something like Zapier if you're already paying for Zapier. That one you have to do a little bit more detailed setup and know how to set it up. Another app that works well to connect Stripe and QuickBooks Online directly is called Sush.io. I'll have a link for that in the comments below or in the description. And it is $19 a month, but you technically can connect more than one Stripe and QuickBooks account. So I know that there are certain QuickBooks Pro advisors who have this set up and then set up all their clients under one account and connect all their different things. So if you're not looking to pay $19 a month just to sync Stripe and QuickBooks Online, then consider partnering up with someone who's already using it. And the other option is just to manually import transactions for Stripe. You can do that through CSV files, and I'm going to be releasing another video specifically on that process. So keep an eye out for that Stripe video on how to import that. So this account already has, I've already created the Stripe. However, if you are brand new to QuickBooks Online, you're just getting your account set up, what you're going to do is come here to accounting, click new. You want it to be a bank account, and you can technically choose cash on hand, checking, whatever. It doesn't really matter. And then we're going to name it Stripe account, and we'll hit save and close. Okay, so now I have this new Stripe account. It's okay, this is demo, I can have two. So that's one of the important steps that you need to do before syncing your Dubsado and QuickBooks account. So now I want to jump over back to Dubsado. So it's very handy to have them open in two tabs. And we're going to connect our accounts. So where you need to go is over here to current brand settings. And you're going to go to QuickBooks. Now, I want to show you something quickly on Receive Money. There are two options of how you can get paid on your invoices directly through Dubsado. Most people use Stripe. If you use PayPal, you can connect PayPal, and that will be a little bit different. So those are the two primary, is Stripe or PayPal. I recommend Stripe. I don't recommend PayPal. So we go to QuickBooks, and you're going to see this button that says Connect to QuickBooks. So we're going to click this, and it's going to ask for your login. I'm already logged in, so I'm going to do this part, but you'll select your company and make sure it's all's right and hit confirm. Once you've hit confirm, it's just going to ask you to authorize the connection between Intuit and Dubsado. So we click connect. Okay, now our QuickBooks and Dubsado are connected. When I was talking with Jamie in our video on her channel, we talked about these two checkboxes and what they mean and how it translates the data from Dubsado to QuickBooks Online. So these checkboxes and how they work often are what trip people up and cause issues on the QuickBooks side. So this first one is saying, do you want to automatically sync the QuickBooks after payment is received? So that means automatically send the invoice over and show that it's been paid. If they pay through Dubsado and Stripe, then QuickBooks is going to show it as paid. And so what it's saying is, if you have your payments synced already to QuickBooks through your bank or your payment processor, so if you have Stripe, Square, PayPal already connected into QuickBooks Online and syncing automatically, they suggest you don't have this checked. The other one is to automatically sync payments after payment is received. So here's really the deal with these checkboxes. If the core of your income is coming through Dubsado invoices and you don't have outside income sources, so you're service-based, you're invoicing through Dubsado, people are paying you through Dubsado, or they may be sending you checks or setting up direct deposit as well. That's okay, because you can mark them as paid in Dubsado once you receive those payments. Basically, if you use Dubsado as the core of your income and it goes through Stripe and you don't have like courses or things where they can book and pay through a scheduler, anything like that, then this is a good thing to have checked. If you have a lot of different sources of income flowing into your Stripe, so say you invoice one-on-one clients through Dubsado, but you also have courses set up on Thinkific, and you have digital products that you're selling through WooCommerce, and it's all flowing through Stripe, then having this box checked could cause problems, and you probably don't want to have it checked. Otherwise, I'm going to leave it checked for now and show you guys how this is going to work, okay? The other thing you want to make sure you know is if your QuickBooks Online is US or non-US. This is a big deal for people. I know I've heard that the Canadian users of QuickBooks Online have some issues connecting Dubsado to their Canadian QuickBooks Online because it is a different software for different countries. It's not one software that works in every country, the way that they have it set up. So make sure you have that selected correctly. If you have sales tax on your invoices, then you can sync your invoices to QuickBooks Online and you can import your tax rates from QuickBooks. So this is a little bit more advanced. Most of us do not have to put sales tax on our invoices because we're service-based and we're not in states that put sales tax on services. So that's what that does. And now I'm going to go over here to the bookkeeping tab and open up my invoice list. So this is all the invoices that exist in my QuickBooks or in my Dubsado. So I have a couple different sample invoices in here. I have some that are paid and I have some that are not paid. So what you'll notice once you connect QuickBooks is that this column, the QuickBooks column, will show up. And you'll see whether something is connected or it needs to be connected. And what this means is that if it says connected, that invoice has already been sent over to QuickBooks Online and is synced. If it says connect, that means it has not been sent to QuickBooks Online yet. And sometimes you'll see a little circle arrow, and that means it needs to be synced. So I've connected and disconnected QuickBooks a few times on this account. So that's why there's some that are already connected. Usually it'll just say, no, there's nothing connected. So what we're going to do is I want to show you what it looks like on QuickBooks before I click that little bank thing. We're going to go to sales. This is where QuickBooks tracks all of your invoices and all of your payments. So here you're going to see this really handy little bar at the top, and it kind of shows you how much invoices are overdue, open, and how many have been paid in the last 30 days. And so this is just a really great quick view of like, okay, who owes me money, who really owes me money, and who's paid me money. And then it's going to list all of your transactions. So it has both invoices, payments, and then there's some sales receipts in here, which is something different from a different video that I did. So if you want to see just your invoices, you can click on invoices and it will show you, oh, here's invoice number 1 and here's invoice number 3 and the amounts and the status. So this is really good to show you when you go to invoices, what's overdue, what's not due yet, and what has been paid and whether it's deposited or not deposited. So we'll go into that in a minute. But I'm going to go back over to Dubsado. And now you see that invoice 1 and 3 have been sent to QuickBooks. Invoice 4 has not. So I'm going to click connect. And that is going to send the data over to QuickBooks. So now if I come back over here to invoices and I refresh, all of a sudden we're going to see another invoice appear. Bam. All right. So we have invoice number 4. Total due is $100. So see $100. Now the status, because of the due date that was set in Dubsado, QuickBooks knows it's not past due yet. It's not due for 30 days. So we're fine. See, it has the due date here. And you can adjust the width of these columns if you need to. But I'm going to go ahead and open up this invoice so you can see what it looks like on the QuickBooks side. See, it copies everything over. Now here's something that is a kind of breakdown between Dubsado and QuickBooks Online. In Dubsado, you can create a bunch of different income categories. So you can show here, if I click on this, if I edit it, you know, I can choose the category is training services. So if you have set up multiple income categories in Dubsado because you were just tracking your stuff in Dubsado before, those will not translate over to QuickBooks. So if you want to create these same income categories in QuickBooks, you have to do that manually, and you would have to open each invoice and change it to your different categories. So that's an option. Otherwise, it's all going to go to a default category, most often of services, depending on how you've set up your QuickBooks Online. So just be aware of that. If you want to track your invoices by income category, have more details in QuickBooks, you can. You just have to open them up and adjust that here. Okay, so everything here is good. I'm going to close this. I don't want to save it right now. And then I'm going to pretend, there, we're going to save this. So I'm going to pretend that this client paid me. I sent them their invoice and they made their payment. So of course I'm going to manually apply this at the moment. And we're going to say that they paid us today. And they paid us through Stripe. And the amount was the full $100. So normally this would be you email it to your client, they open it, they pay it through their credit card and Stripe. So you don't have to do this when they pay it directly. However, I'm not going to actually send myself an invoice and put in my credit card information. So now we can say, hey, look, it's been paid. And if we again move back to invoice side, see how there's now this circle arrow, so we can again sync that over. And when we come here and refresh QuickBooks, voila. Now we see we have $0 in open invoices, so no unpaid invoices. We now have a $100 payment that came in, but you see how it says not deposited? So this is the missing step that a lot of people have on QuickBooks Online side when they sync this up. So I've talked about the magic plus button before. If you watch Jamie's video, you'll know I talked about that. This is the magic plus button up here. So one of the steps you have to take once an invoice has been marked as paid is you have to tell QuickBooks what account the payment went into. Where did it get deposited? If they wrote you a check, and then it probably got deposited directly into your checking account. If they paid through Stripe or PayPal, then it probably went in there. So what we're going to do is click this plus button, and we're going to click bank deposit. Now, since they paid through Stripe, we know it's going to happen on the same day. So we want this date to match this date here. And we're going to choose the account that it went into. So it went into my Stripe account. You can add details if you want. If you say, oh, they paid through Stripe, doesn't really affect a whole lot. And then once we have that, so we telling it that we went into the Stripe account on this date, and we check this box that it was this invoice, then we save and close. You have to do this for each individual payment, or at least all the payments received in one day. You cannot just select 3 months worth of payments on invoices and deposit them all in one day. That will screw up your bookkeeping in QuickBooks Online. Okay, so this goes really fast. When you open this up and you get the hang of it, you may have a couple different invoices listed here. This right now, I have it to save and close. You can also switch it to save and new. So you click one, do deposit, click save and new. Click the next one, mark deposit, save and new. You can get through it really fast if you have a bunch to deposit all at once. So that's an important step. Now it's showing that all of the payments came in and all of them have been deposited, which means in QuickBooks, we've assigned them to the right bank account. So if we go back to accounting and we look at our Stripe account, it's going to show the payments. So look, Payments came in, got deposited. Here's all of my payments. Awesome. Here is the thing that you're going to have to remember is that, again, if you're invoicing a Dubsado, people are paying you through Stripe. You're recording the payment. You're depositing the payment. The last step you have to do to make sure that your numbers are accurate in Stripe is add the fees. And I prefer to do this just at the end of every month. So at the end of every month, I log into my Stripe account. I run my report for the dates. I find out what my fees were for that month. And then what I do is I click this magic plus button. I add an expense. There doesn't have to be a payee. We want to choose the Stripe account. I usually set it to the last day of the month. And the account here, I've added one called Stripe Fees. And if you don't already have a Stripe Fees account, you can add it from right here. You can add new. You can choose expense. You can choose bank charges and then just change the name here to Stripe Fees or PayPal fees. Okay, so that's how you would add it right there. So we would choose our Stripe Fees, and I would just say March fees and add the amount. So if my total Stripe fees for the month of March were, say, $11.27, I would put that in there. And then when I save and close, that's going to all of a sudden show now the correct amount of money, the correct income, the correct expenses. On the bank side, so we know that money goes into Stripe, they take out their fees, and then they transfer that money to your checking account. So here, you'll start to see on, if you have your checking account synced, this is called the bank feed. And this bank feed is where all of the transactions from your bank account, your credit card, your PayPal, they all come in here and wait for you to assign them and match them to something that already exists in QuickBooks. So we would find one that usually says Stripe Transfer, and we would mark it as transfer, and it would be from the Stripe account. And this is the money coming out of your Stripe account and going into your checking account. So when you do that, you mark it as that transfer. When we go back to look at the Stripe account, we're going to see, oh, look, now it shows that money was transferred out of my Stripe account and into my checking account. Awesome. So then it doesn't look like your Stripe account is building up this massive amount of money. And also on your checking account side, you're not counting those deposits from Stripe as income. So if you count the deposits from Stripe as income in your checking account and you count it as income when you're invoicing, you're going to end up duplicating your income. So I know that was a lot of information. I hope you guys got a lot of value out of this. Make sure to check out the video on Jamie's channel if you have not already. We had a great discussion just about how Dubsado and QuickBooks work together, some really good practices, and some theory behind why you should use QuickBooks versus just doing your bookkeeping in Dubsado. I will talk to you guys soon. If you like this video, make sure to click the like button. And if you're not subscribed to my channel, hit that subscribe button so that we can be friends. And I'll talk to you soon.